Okay, well that's drying a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and come back to what I'd already done previously and was deciding on the background. But I am using this photo I found of a bunny all dressed up, I guess a little bit in an Alice in Wonderland fashion, but I double matted it with a piece of paper that is a more solid, but it has a few little daisies on it. And so I used 2 different colors on that. And then I have fussy cut this from, one of the papers already. Like this one right here. I cut the little window, and I've cut the little, this little piece right here to use as layering pieces. And I may come back here and cut some of those flowers right there in just a moment. And also that great big butterfly over there. But I'm going to use these as layering pieces behind the photo. And then I may or may not use this other little window piece. I think that would be kind of cute, but it wouldn't show too much. So we'll see. But then I also thought I could use this here in this corner. And then I have taken some of this paper with the pink and the big birdhouse on it, and then what was beneath that, and it's on the reverse side of this yellow with floral pattern paper. And I just used one of my tearing tools that has a little curve to it because, I didn't really want it necessarily just like everything else I always do, with that one tearing tool. So, well, I have several, but I just thought that would be something a little different. And I kind of distressed the edges. And then I do need to, I do have some little bunny ears here in the corner that I need to cover up. And I wasn't sure I could get that done with florals. And so I think I'm going to use a little stamp to do that. But anyway, then I'm just going to mount everything and add some florals. I have taken... See, I want to use those leaves, or part of the leaves anyway, and that. And then maybe this, if I do this, that will help to cover the bunny ears. And then I took one of the flowers that was really big and tore it apart and thought I could use this on this side if I want to. And then I was thinking about using this one underneath like that. And so that's all I've got planned so far. I did pull out some word phrases from the little chipboard pack. I could choose some different ones if I decide to, but I thought I would put them down on the black cardstock below where I place this other stuff, and just, put it, down right here. And then do some white paint splattering, and that'll just about be it. So I think I can go ahead and at least put this background down. It's as done as I want it, I think, except, maybe distressing it a little bit more. I wanted a different pattern, but I was using a different paper before I decided on the black. I was using this one right here that's on the back side of the big flower, the big butterfly. I tried to use this differently, but it was just too much mixed media on it, so I decided I would use that side, and I was going to do something like that, which would be fine, but it was still a little bit busy down here, and having to be careful of that, so that would work, but I thought it'd be a little bit more dramatic to go with the black, so that's what I'm going to try to do, ready or not. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and start, or turn off the microphone, and just let you watch along. Okay, going to voiceover now, and here I am adhering the 2 strips of paper there to my background, and I do have a little bit of my model, my gesso showing, but not a lot. But I like the super heavy gesso because it's so very white and it stays white. So it's a little hard to find, but I usually can get it at Hobby Lobby. There you can see that I've distressed and layered the pieces that go underneath the photo, and I've used a vintage photo because I always have it handy. I am trying to switch over to one of the 49 and Market colors, and I'm in the midst of doing that and creating a dauber that's just for that. But I play around with the white florals that are in the kit, and I cut them up to make them be exactly what I want to be in terms of size and that kind of thing. But while I was thinking that through, I wanted to see what kind of ephemera I might be adding in here towards the end to go on top of the birdhouse. And I play around with some different ideas, but in my head, I want to use something like word phrases, and that's what I end up with. I use some chipboard pieces from the little chipboard set, and one of them says something about entomology, and the other one says something about ornithology. So they are just perfect for what I want over there. And then I add in, some bumblebees, and I find a little home for the bird. I did have a little trouble with my glue there. If you see me switching out, I forgot to put the top on my bottle the night before, so I had to get a different bottle and continue on. And there I am with the little cluster that comes in the pack. Each of the packs has a little cluster, and I've just cut it up and used little bits of it here and there to kind of be what I want it to be. And it takes me a while to decide whether I want to use those rosebuds going along the left-hand side or whether I want to use the leaves. But I'm really kind of committed to using the leaves and then just nestling some flowers in the way I want. And so it turns out pretty good. It just took me some time to play around with it and figure it out. So I did take a rose from the cluster and I put it beneath that other teeny tiny cluster on the right hand side, and I like how that looks. And there I'm using the larger white flower, and then I'm using the other end of that little cluster, or part of the end, and I'm going to tuck it in right there. And excuse my head popping in and out there, but I was standing when I scrapped, which I don't normally do. And then I add in some of the seed flowers that are from the pack and other little rosebuds and bits here and there. And I do want to go ahead and say that I lost a little camera footage at the very end of this that I was just putting, trying to find a home for the bird and some of the birds and bees and that kind of thing. But, I thought I had the camera on and it was actually off. So really all you missed was the paint splattering and the kind of the final decision about the bird. But I wanted something over there that was more like word phrases or book phrases, and that's, kind of what I ended up with. But meanwhile, I do play around with the other ephemera, and you just have to choose what is going to please your eye because it's different for everyone. And, I like these little two bits right there that I was just referring to. And then I do like the little white floral cluster, but I didn't know if I wanted it closer to the words or up in the far corner. And either place actually looked good. But for some reason, I just thought, I kind of liked it up there in the right-hand corner. So that's what I ended up doing. But either way is fine. It's just, whatever is pleasing your eye at the moment. And I am putting some of that up on foam squares of that little cluster. So it's just kind of, it really brings some dimension to the page that I really liked. And I did end up with the bird on the chipboard, and then I added in my phrases at the bottom and the bumblebee. So I've got, I think, 3 bumblebees total on here. There's details below about how to order a kit, so please be sure and refer to that if you don't have your kit already or you just want to see what's in this month's kit. I'm going to have my final project here in a moment and my close-ups. This one was really a pretty easy one to put together once, I made a commitment. That little Happy Easter, I moved that around multiple times trying to find just the right home for it. And there's no right or wrong. It's just what's pleasing your eye and at the moment, And I liked it several ways, but I ended up just that way so I'd kind of have a staggered design with all my words. And then I finish up with a bee and the white splatter. and I think it turned out really good. So I hope it inspires you, and I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with this beautiful kit. Thanks for coming by. Be sure to like and subscribe.